The world is seeming like a really, really bad place at the moment and a really scary place. And I mean, it has been for a long time, but especially right now, there seems to be just this influx of horrible, horrible things happening and bad people as well. And it's making me lose my faith in humanity a little bit, so I need to restore that, and that is what I'm doing in this vlog. I am choosing to go down the route of books, my favourite route to go down for any solution, and try to restore a little bit of my faith in humanity, hopefully. That's the goal. I need to read about good people doing good things, and whilst these stories are fictional, they are still written by a real person. They're still voices from an author and have real morals and real values behind them, and I think that that is important. And I just want to read something good. I need to read something good. A couple of weeks ago I was in a really low spot mentally. I just felt like I felt there was little hope for our planet not just destroying itself in some way or another, and I just felt really crap, and I got really caught up in that idea and how crap everything felt. And I'm trying to pull myself out of that feeling because it's not a nice place to sit, and I can't really do anything about it if I sit in that kind of feeling. So I think I need to restore my faith in humanity a little bit and know that there is some good, and know that there's good that I can do as well as a person. So let's look at the books that I'm going to be reading, or picking from to read in this vlog. I've got a little bit of TBR. I don't intend to read all of these books, but this is like my selection to browse from. First off, I'm going to read you a couple that were suggested to me on Instagram. So I asked on my Instagram story for some recommendations of books to restore my faith in humanity. I also did a little bit of Googling and found a really good Reddit thread that had a load of recommendations as well. So I was basically just trying to see if anyone would suggest things that I had on my shelves already so that I could jump into those ones. So these are the ones that were recommended. We have A Prayer for Owen Meany, The Last Bookshop in London, Hair by Chloe Dalton, The Five People You Meet in Heaven, What You're Looking For Is in the Library, Lonely Castle in the Mirror, Sweet Bean Paste, A Psalm for the Wild Built, Against the Loveless World, Half a Soul, Somewhere Beyond the Sea, Remarkably Bright Creatures, Anxious People, The Reading List, Humans by Matt Haig again, Notes on a Nervous Planet by Matt Haig, Leonard and Hungry Paul by Ronan Hessian, The Next Beginning Duology by Lauren James, Anything by Holly Ringland, Sweet Bean Paste again, I need to look that one up, Monk and Robot series, which I think is The Psalm for the Wild Built, which I have read the first one in that series, Dear Mrs. Bird, and then Still Life by Sarah Winman. So I actually own quite a few of those, which is good to know that I have those kind of books on my shelves if I ever need to read more books to restore my faith in humanity. But from that list, I've picked a couple. I've also picked some off of the Reddit list, and then someone DM'd me on Instagram to recommend the Earthshot book, which is lots of different stories of real people doing real things to help our planet. So good stories of good people. So I've got that one coming some point later in the week. I've managed to find that one secondhand online. So let me tell you what is on the loose TBR for this vlog. First up, we have Orbital by Samantha Harvey. This one actually wasn't on any list, but I really want to read this one. I bought this one quite recently, and as soon as I read the blurb for this one, I thought surely this is going to fit in books that restore my faith in humanity a little bit. So the blurb for this one is: life on our planet as you've never seen it before. 6 astronauts rotate in their spacecraft above the Earth. They are there to collect meteorological data and conduct scientific experiments, but mostly they observe. Together they watch our silent blue planet. Endless shows of spectacular beauty witnessed in a single day. Yet although separated from the world, they cannot escape its constant pull. News reaches them of the death of a mother, and with it comes the thoughts of returning home. The fragility of human life fills their conversations, their fears, their dreams. So far from Earth, they have never felt more part or protective of it. They begin to ask, what is life without Earth? What is Earth without humanity? I mean, that one just sounds perfect. I also think I'm going to do that as the book for our tiny book club pick for December. I mean, you'll be watching this in December, so it'll already be the book, but yeah, this is our tiny book club pick. There is a link down below if you ever want to join the tiny book club. We read a different tiny book each month. I also have 84 Charing Cross Road by Helen Hanff. This one was recommended on the Reddit thread. I've had this one for ages. It's really teeny, like it's a small paperback in general. I've had this one for ages and keep thinking I should pick it up, but I haven't yet, and given that it's on this list, I feel now is the time. In 1949, Helen Hanff, a poor writer with an antiquarian taste in books, wrote Marks & Co., booksellers of 84 Charing Cross Road in search of the rare editions she was unable to find in New York. Her books were dispatched with polite but brisk efficiency, but seeking further treasures, Helen soon found herself in regular correspondence with bookseller Frank Dole, laying siege to his English reserve with her warmth and wit, and as letters, books and quips crossed the ocean, a friendship flourished that would endure for 20 years. This is a classic memoir of friendship and bibliophilia. bibliophilia. That's a great word. So this is a non-fiction, I believe, but it sounds like it's going to be nice, and it's a book about books. Another one that was on the Reddit list was a man called, is this Ove? I've always had it in my head as Ove, but I know that's not correct. I need to check that. And it's by Frederick Backman. I have had this on my TBR for longer than I care to admit. But I think this is going to be the time I finally read it. This one, I think when I saw this on the list, I kind of knew. I knew this was going to be on the list. I knew that a lot of people have said that this is just a book that will warm your heart. And I think maybe make me cry as well. I'm going to call him Ove. For now, I need to check. Ove is almost certainly the grumpiest man you will ever meet. He thinks himself surrounded by idiots, joggers, neighbours who can't reserve a trailer properly, and shop assistants who talk in code. But isn't it rare these days to find such an old-fashioned clarity of belief and deed, such unanswering conviction about what the world should be, and a lifelong dedication to making it just so? In the end, you will see there is something about Ove that is quite irresistible. I mean, I know this is going to probably make me cry, but apparently one of the reviews says it's going to make me laugh and cry. One that was recommended on Instagram is What You Were Looking For Is in the Library by Michiko Ioma. This is translated by Alison Watts. Oh, hang on, this one's translated as well, isn't it? Hang on. Who by? Translated from Swedish by Henning Koch. This is a book about books with cats in it, so I'm already happy. What are you looking for? So asked Tokyo's most enigmatic librarian. For Sayuri Komachi is able to sense exactly what each visitor to her library is searching for and provide just the book recommendation to help them find it. A restless retail assistant looks to gain new skills. A mother tries to overcome demotion at work after maternity leave. A conscientious accountant yearns to open an antique store. A recently retired salaryman searches for newfound purpose. In Komachi's unique book recommendations, they will find just what they needed to achieve their dreams. I mean, that sounds lovely. That's kind of giving me the vibe of the Little Paris Bookshop, which was like a pharmacy bookshop thing. So people came in with like their ailments, and then the bookseller recommended them a book to help them. So that kind of has that vibe to it. I'm also adding Humans by Matt Haig to this list because 2 different people recommended that on Instagram, but I don't actually have my copy at the moment because I lent it to my mum, so I'm going to get that back from her at some point soon. But the blurb for that one is, there's no place like home, or is there? After an incident one wet Friday night where Professor Andrew Martin is found walking naked through the streets of Cambridge, he's not feeling quite himself. Food sickens him, clothes confound him. Even his loving wife and teenage son are repulsive to him. He feels lost amongst a crazy alien species and hates everyone on the planet. Everyone, that is, except Newton, and he's a dog. What could possibly make someone change their mind about the human race? I mean, that one definitely sounds like that's going to give me a little bit of faith in humanity, and I really like Matt Haig's writing style, so that one's on the list as well. And the book that I'm currently reading, which So I started reading this because I thought it would be great for this video, and now I am just over halfway through and I'm not so sure, but we're gonna see. So I'm reading Us by David Nichols. I read one day when I was on holiday last month, and I think it's probably one of my favourite books now. I thought it was brilliant and beautiful and sad, but also it does restore your faith in humanity. Like, it shows the story of these 2 people and how different their lives are, but how they still retain these relationships with each other, and that they are good people at heart and with each other and stuff. And I like the themes of that book so much that I thought that Us might give me similar vibes. Us is following a man whose wife tells him that she wants to leave him in the autumn, but first she wants them to go on this trip that they've been planning for the summer with their son. So they try and go away on this trip, and his intention the whole time is to try and fix his marriage and work out why she wants to leave him and stop it from happening. He is not the most likable main character. I find him incredibly boring, and I think it's all very deliberate. He is very, very cautious with everything. He's not a very interesting character to follow, and I think for me it's making him quite unlikable as a character, but I think that's the point. I feel very sad for him at the moment. I was told this one was better than One Day. At the moment, it's not. It's good. It's definitely good, and I really like the writing style, and it's very addictive, and I've been reading it really quickly, but it's sadder. I mean, One Day is really sad as well, but it's got like, One Day has a lot of sadness throughout it too, but this one seems to have more sadness than it does joy. Like, even there's flashbacks to the start of his relationship, and even there I still feel sad for him or for his wife in some way or another. So I'm interested to see how this one pans out, but I thought that this would make me feel good things and see good in people. It's kind of edging that way, maybe. The guy's going on like a little bit of a mini pilgrimage to try and sort some stuff out, and it is kind of edging towards that direction, but I don't know. So that's what I'm currently reading. This is the rough TBR that I'm going to be picking books from. I've got a copy of Earthshot on the way as well, so that'll be added to the TBR as well. This is going to be a little bit of a chatty vlog as well, so I hope you enjoy coming along with me, and if you've got any recommendations as well that you think would help me on this journey of trying to feel better about the world and the people and everything, then please drop them in the comments down below. It is just before 5 o'clock and it's so dark outside. This affects my mood so much at this time of year. I always really struggle. I need the sun. I need it to feel happy. Anyway, I'm taking myself to the gym after work. I'm bringing my book with me to read on the cross trainer or the treadmill or whatever, because it makes it a bit easier. I don't like going to the gym, but I'm enjoying it a little bit. Enjoying it is a strong word. I'm getting more used to it and spending time there to either watch a show that I want to watch or read for a little bit, and just using it as time to get out of my house, which I think benefits my mental health quite a bit. So according to my Kindle, I have about an hour and a half left of Us, and I don't know how I feel about this book. I really don't. On one hand, I look forward to picking it up and I'm intrigued to keep reading it. On the other hand, I don't like the main character enough to care about the outcome of his story, and I'm kind of sad that I don't like him enough. He's just not had that breakthrough moment yet that makes me be like, oh, okay. So I'm enjoying the book, and I like the travel element of it, and I really like the writing style, and I really like the dialogue. David Nichols writes really funny, dry wit in his dialogue, I think, and does that really well, and did that in One Day really well as well. So I'm enjoying it, and I feel like maybe it's going to sit at about a 4-star. I just don't like the main character. But then I don't know if you're meant to like the main character. I don't find him a very interesting character to follow, but everything around him that's happening is the thing that's keeping me compelled to keep reading. I don't know. Anyway, my mum's coming over this morning and we're going to have a little wander into town, have a little mooch about. All the Christmas lights are up, so it's going to be very cute and festive. I had every intention of finishing my book tonight, and then I got an email through from my accountant with my tax owed in January, and the amount was way higher than I thought it would be, than I'd expected. So I had a panic attack, and now I'm led on the floor listening to music. I've got my Galaxy light on. That's making it all better. And I'm just trying to think about how to sort all that out. So I was meant to read. That was the plan. I had a nice day out with my mum, but this is where I'm at now. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I think my copy of Earthshot has just arrived. I don't know what else this could be, so let's have a look. It is! I really love the cover of this. That is such a gorgeous photo. Also, I finished Us last night. I actually forgot I finished it. I woke up this morning, processed the morning, got on with the day, and then was like, oh, I finished my book last night. So that's that. That was the impact that had on me. I feel like there must be so much more to it that I just didn't click with, because I think this was like a big prize nominee. I don't know. I need to run it through Cool Pile, but I think maybe it's a 3.5. I liked the travel. I did like the family connections and the way that they kind of went on this journey, and it felt very real. I will say that the characters felt very real and genuine and flawed, and like they weren't fantasized for the sake of making them more interesting for a book, and I did appreciate that side of it. But I don't know, there was something that kept me going with it. There was something that I enjoyed with it enough to keep going and feel intrigued. So it was a good book and I did enjoy it. I don't know, it's a kind of mundane book. It's not got any huge thrilling moments in it. It's capturing a family's story as they're struggling to remain this little unit of 3. It's flashing back to the past. We're seeing them in their present day as they go on this grand tour holiday thing, and we just get fed the story through those different forms of narrative, mainly following the dad in this family, and he was the one that I didn't really enjoy reading about too much. I really don't know. I'm gonna sit on it. That's my initial thoughts. I need to run it through Cool Pile and rate it, but yeah, that's my thoughts currently. Okay, these are the 2 books that I'm picking for as my physical read next. I have asked my patrons for help. These are the votes that we have coming in. Library, Matt Haig, Miss Vaughn. Matt Haig. Does Matt Haig win? Hang on. Wait, we have 2 for Matt Haig and 2 for Library. We need a tiebreaker. Who's gonna break the tie? It's in your hands, guys. Okay, we've got the tiebreaker. It is Library. You are live on camera. Please do not swear. All right, this you can't see it. There's no light. This is my next physical read. Okay, that is me done with Patron sprints. Can I pop you there? Is that's not great, is it? I could just get my tripod out, but anyway, we'll just see how this goes. So my patrons helped me pick out my next physical read, which is this. What you were looking for is in the library. Has anybody seen the Christmas paperback of this? Because it's so cute. It's got like little red fairy lights on the cover. I mean, this is pretty as well, but it's very, very cute. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I really hoped that Us by David Nichols would be a book that would give me that kind of good feeling about people, but it didn't. So I'm hoping that this does that, as the point of this video is to restore my faith in humanity a little bit. Although, saying that, the documentary I'm going to watch tonight, I started it the other day. I think I vlogged the start of it. It's about overconsumption and consumerism, and I think that's a really important thing to be talking about, especially at Christmas when there's so many things bought just for the sake of buying things. It was a very, very interesting documentary. I only watched 20 minutes of it because then I got my tax bill through that was a lot higher than I expected. Ended up having a panic attack about that. I have since spoken to my accountant and kind of got a little bit more of a plan and sorted it a little bit better. So I'm less panicked now, basically. But when I first saw that, I was like, and I didn't really feel like watching a hard-hitting documentary, so I ended up watching The Intern instead, which is one of my favourite comfort films. Anne Hathaway features in 2 of my comfort films. I don't have that many comfort films, but The Intern, definitely one of them. I love that film. And then The Devil Wears Prada was what I always used to watch whenever I had a sick day as a kid. So Anne Hathaway, there's something about her films that are comfort films for me. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to finish watching that documentary later today because I just didn't really feel like I could dive back into it after just feeling really panicked. So I'm going to finish watching that. I'm going to start this book. I have started the audiobook for a man called Ove as well. I think that's the correct pronunciation. I should now know that, shouldn't I? I really should. I'm going to make sure that stays in my brain, but I think Ove, he is a grumpy man who is very mad at the world, and I assume is going to go down the route of ending up not being all that grumpy and giving me that faith in humanity that I am so desperately craving. I think this is definitely going to do that. I mean, this is about somebody that helps people through books, so I mean, you can't go wrong with something like this. But I am enjoying the audiobook so far. I'm enjoying the fact that it's made me laugh out loud within the first 30 minutes, which was great. I was doing a lot of admin tasks earlier. I've launched some new Lightroom presets on my website. I design various different Lightroom packs. If you ever want to check them out, there is a link down below to my website. But I was doing some of that earlier, and it requires quite a bit of admin back-end stuff, so I just had my headphones on listening to the audiobook, which was a nice way to do the work. So I'm enjoying that so far. I've got pretty much a free weekend. I'm seeing my friend tomorrow and we're just chilling about, and then on Sunday I have nothing planned, so I think I might go into town, read in a cafe, because it would be rude not to bring this beautiful book with me to a cafe and just have a nice relaxed weekend. It's becoming a lot slower end of the year for me for how busy the rest of this year has been, so I'm just gonna lean into that a little bit and just have the relax and the chill. Right now I am not about to be relaxed because I've got to go out and get myself some dinner, and it is immensely cold outside, but I do not have anything in the fridge, so I'm gonna go to the shops. I've got to post a Vinted parcel as well whilst I'm out, and then I'm going to come back and watch the rest of that documentary. Carbonara on a pizza. Where do we stand with this? This is very good. You wouldn't think it would be. There's literally tiny little bits of macaroni pasta in there. But it's good, especially with dip. So this is my choice of dinner for the evening. As expected, it was bloody freezing outside.
We can decide that this is not the way that we want to live and move it in a different direction.
That was a very interesting documentary. It's called Buy Now, The Shopping Conspiracy on Netflix. I challenge anyone watching this to watch that documentary. It's an hour and a half long, and I think everybody needs to watch it, to be honest. It's brilliantly put together, really interesting narrative that is very clever in the way that it makes you think about things. It's very shocking in the information and the visuals that it puts on screen, but it also gives you hope that there is a resolution to the amount that we consume and the amount of waste we produce. It's definitely made me think about a lot of different things. It was really fascinating, really fascinating, and really scary, but I think that we need to face that, because we can't have it in the back of our head that it's okay because it's not going to affect us, because it will affect us and it isn't okay, and we are destroying our planet with the amount of waste we produce. That was really, really interesting. Really interesting. I think I need to think about how I can do more myself and what that looks like. And I think everybody needs to approach their life in that way of thinking how they can do more to help what is a global issue of waste and overconsumption, and generally just in general the way we're destroying our planet, but this obviously specifically talking about the waste side of things. It was fascinating. Please, 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 if you are watching this, take an hour and a half out of your day at some point soon and watch this documentary, and then pass that on to somebody else and get someone else to watch it, because the more people that watch this and have that knowledge, it's going to make more of a difference and it's going to have more of an impact. It's not lost to me that I work in marketing. I'm also a content creator. I talk about products and things in my content and show things that I as a consumer have bought. And that's what I mean when I kind of want to look at how I go about that as well, and how I can do that responsibly, I think. It's made me think a lot, which I think a good documentary should do. Okay, this book literally says it's going to explore the good side of humanity's impact on our planet. So, surely this one is going to give me faith in humanity. I know I said I was reading What You're Looking For Is in the Library, and I am going to be reading that, but I wanted to read a couple of chapters of this after watching that documentary earlier. Good morning. So this morning I have started What You're Looking For Is in the Library, and then last night I was reading Earthshot, which is the non-fiction that arrived yesterday. So talk to you first about What You're Looking For Is in the Library. I am literally like 30 pages into this, but I so badly want to go to this library. I think this is going to kind of work as multiple short stories. We're going to get to know from the perspective of the character that needs the help, and then they're going to go to the library and get that help and kind of figure out what it is they needed to, because the first character we've met, we're following them from their perspective of things and like seeing all of that come together. They've been to the library. I will say the description of the librarian is really hard to imagine what they look like. I couldn't quite get it in my head. Can I find the description? Okay, it says the librarian is huge. I mean like really huge, but huge as in big, not fat. She takes up the entire space between the L-shaped counter space and the partition. Her skin is super pale, you can't even see where her chin ends and her neck begins, and she is wearing a beige apron over an off-white loose knit cardigan. She reminds me of a polar bear curled up in a cave for winter. I just can't, I can't picture that in my head. I can't see the librarian in my head, but I am enjoying this, and I think this is going to be what I need in terms of books about people just discovering what they love and people helping them do that. Books about good people. Another book about good people is Earthshot. So I started reading this yesterday evening. I just read up to page 13, so I didn't read too much, but I wanted to just dive into that because yesterday I was feeling very much in the fumes of the passion following watching that documentary that I keep forgetting the name of. Buy Now, The Shopping Conspiracy, I think it was called. That just really, really stuck with me and has continued to stick with me. So I wanted to start something that was in that tone. So I started How to Save Our Planet. The introduction at the start of it I thought was really powerful, which is, it gives you an overview of what Earthshot is, because it's a prize that's running over the next, well, it has already started, so it's running for 10 years. I think its goal is to basically find various different projects that are happening to be able to fund to help our planet. But I thought that there was some really powerful quotes in here that I've highlighted. So it says, humans have taken too many fish from the sea, we have cleared too many trees, burnt too much fossil fuel and produced too much waste. The damage we are doing is no longer incremental but exponential, and we are fast reaching a tipping point. The science tells us that if we do not act to restore our planet by 2030, the damage will be irreversible. And then it says that basically the reason that things aren't getting done as quickly is because it's currently urgency plus pessimism equals despondency, whereas what they want to see is urgency plus optimism equals action. So making people optimistic that there is hope, and that is what this book is doing. It's not just giving you the doom and gloom of it, like it's giving you the reality, but it's giving you hope. So the challenges and the initiatives that it wants to focus on for the Earthshot Prize is protect and restore nature, clean our air, revive our oceans, build a waste-free world, and fix our climate. I'm finding this really, really interesting. I've already learned about several different people doing amazing things that I didn't already know about. It is definitely restoring my faith in humanity, because these are people doing things that are so, so important and so vital. So yeah, I think this one is a great option if you are looking for something that makes you feel good about people. And it's an easy book to dive in and out of because it's broken up into really digestible chapters and gives you different things to interact with within it. It's all broken up, it's all broken up into like different parts. So the first part is more the introduction, the second part is people that are fixing the planet through all those different means that I just listed, and then the third part is how we can make a difference. So it breaks it up really nicely, and it's very digestible, very easy to read. So I would recommend that, and I am looking forward to reading a little bit more of this. I might regret going out today because this is the current state of the weather. It's just so lovely. But I really want to get outside of my flat, so I'm going to go into town and read in a cafe. I did not expect to like this book as much as I am. It's so wholesome and lovely. It's set around the central location of this library where the librarian is helping different people out with the books that they really need. And I think I said already I was struggling to picture the librarian. And what's quite interesting is that I'm still struggling to picture the librarian, but as you see each person's story in this book, you see a different perspective of what the librarian looks like. And I quite like that you get to see this person who's helping all these people and touching their lives from their own view and their own eyes, and we get so many different versions of how people see this librarian, and I really like that. I love the fact that the librarian also gives them little felt creations. I myself have dabbled in felting. Dabble is the key word. I'm not horrendous at it. My skills pretty much stem to ghosts, pumpkins and mushrooms, which are all fairly easy rounded-ish shapes to make. But she makes all sorts of things. She makes me want to be a better felter. But this book is just beautiful. It's got so many lovely messages in it. It's got so many lovely people. It's exactly what I needed. It's making me think that there is good in the world. It's also giving me motivation to try and act on a couple of things in my own life even more as well. I read a couple of books when I was in Cyprus recently that made me feel like I wanted to make some changes, and this is kind of reminding me that I want to do that and keeping that momentum going, which is something that I am slowly working on. But I just love this so much. One of my favourite stories is about a mum who received a demotion once she had a child and is trying to find the career path that she really wants to be on and deserves to be on. And I love that. I love the centric love of books around it all and how much it means that books can help and make a difference in your life. I actually have jotted down a couple of my favourite quotes from the part that I just read. So one of them is, "You may say that it was the book, but it's how you read a book that is most valuable, rather than any power it might have itself." I think that is so accurate as well, because sometimes I feel like there's a right and wrong time to read certain books. Like one book that might have been your favourite, had you read it at another time, might actually be a book that you don't connect with as much if you read it at like the wrong time. Whereas a book that is instantly something that you really relate to and is a firm favourite might well have been a book you reacted to differently had you not have read it when you did. And I think that kind of quote kind of feeds into that a little bit. And then there's also, "Things change even if you want them to stay the same. At the same time, you can try to change, but you will still remain the same." I just thought that was a really interesting quote as well. It's just such a lovely book. I've not got too long left. I'm on Patron sprints at the moment, so I'm going to read a little bit more tonight and then either finish it tonight or tomorrow, I think. But I'm in no rush because it's just really nice. I've also seen that the author has another book coming out about a hippo ride at a park that helps people, and that's coming out next year, so obviously I'm going to be pre-ordering that. I also want to show you something I've been working on over the last few days. So I wanted to add a couple bits more to my online shop. I have an online shop at booksnest.com/shop, and then I also have an Etsy storefront, but my online shop is a little bit more beneficial for me than Etsy and all the fees that they take. So I sell Lightroom presets, and I also wanted to start selling Kindle covers, so I have made a couple. This is one of my favourites. The light is probably doing horrendous things bouncing off of it, but this says my Kindle doubles as a cat pillow. I think this one might be one of my favourites. I've got loads. I've basically made a pack of 35 ones that are like book lovers themed, and then I've also made some that are zodiac star sign themed, and I'm hoping to make some more, so if you want to check that out, I shall leave a link down below to my online shop. And as I said, I am also on Etsy under Books Nest if you would rather go via Etsy, which I know some people probably would prefer, but yeah, it's available on both. Okay, I'm gonna go back to reading now. Sorry, you're propped up on a bit of a weird angle, but I just finished What You're Looking For is in the library. This was such a delightful read. I've actually ended up giving this 5 out of 5 stars. It did exactly what I needed it to. It restored my faith in humanity bit by bit. The stories that we see from these different people just felt like such a fantastic reading experience, and I really loved that they all ever so slightly touched into each other's lives as well and interwove just a little bit. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that we had a breadth of lots of different types of people and different stories and different journeys, and they weren't necessarily the journeys that you'd expect. These were flawed people. I had such a good time with it, and I thought it was absolutely lovely. I have highlighted quite a few quotes. I'll show you a couple of them. One of the things that I still couldn't settle in my head is what the librarian looks like. I just can't picture the librarian, but I think that I kind of see the librarian as actually just taking on the whole persona of the whole library as opposed to just being one person, and I think maybe that's why I can never really pin down what she looks like and why it differs from person to person. So there was a conversation between two characters that happened here where one character says, "I hear books aren't selling as well anymore and bookshops are disappearing," and then the other character says, "Stop it. When everyone says that as if they know what they're talking about, it turns into a trend. Books will always be essential for some people, and bookshops are a place for those people to discover that books will become important to them. I will never allow bookshops to vanish from this world." I loved that, and I also loved this conversation about books as well, which says, "When I buy a book, I also become part of the process as a reader. People working in the book industry are not the only ones who make this publishing world go round. Most of all, it depends on the readers. Books belong to everybody, the creators, the sellers, and the readers. That's what society is all about, I believe." I think that's such a great quote. There's so many good quotes. I just think it was brilliant and beautiful and all about celebrating each individual person and allowing them to find the path that they want at any point in their life. And I loved it. It was great. I think I'm going to go on to reading The Humans next by Matt Haig. I think that'll be my next physical read. In terms of my audiobook, I actually have no idea how far through. I think, right, hang on, I'm actually going to get the pronunciation right this time. It's like Hoover, but without the H. A man called Uva. Uva? I think that's right. I'm really enjoying it. It's not, I actually didn't look too much into the blurb when picking it up this time. When I initially bought it, I did, but I've long since forgotten what that was. So I'm kind of going into it not knowing very much, other than I know that it gets people pretty emotional. So I'm going to try and mentally prepare myself for that. But I have got just under 4 hours left in the audiobook for that. It's very hard hitting in places. It's got some really heavy topics in it, but it's following Hoover without an H. Uva. I am going to get that. I promise I'm going to get it. It's following Uva in his life where he is now, but then also everything that led him to this point. And I love it when books do that. I love it when you get fed the story of someone's life slowly throughout the book. And, you know, to start with, obviously any character is a stranger to us, but we really are getting to know the backstory of this character and everything he's been through and how he started off as a teenager in the world of work and things and how that progressed for him. And I feel very invested in his story already, and I definitely really want to watch the film as well. I've been waiting to read the book finally to then be able to watch the film, so I might try and do that. Maybe at some point over the weekend, maybe next week, I'm not sure, but I'm going to go pick up my next physical read. This has been a good read. Well, I mean, I didn't really like Us that much, did I? But it was okay. I think I've read some good books so far this week. I'm enjoying the reading experience. I'm enjoying trying to read books that make me feel this way. It's a nice theme to go down for a reading vlog. I forgot to mention 2 other things that I really enjoyed about What You Were Looking For is in the library. One of them was the pacing. It has a really calming pace to it. Like a slower pace, it's still moving along fairly well because you're getting multiple different people's stories in a 250-page book. But it just felt really calm and really relaxing of a pace to read about, and I really liked that. And then the second thing, which I suppose kind of feeds into that, was just the general writing style and also the translation. I just really clicked with the style and the way that this was written in the dialogue, and I really liked it. It felt like a nice meditative type of book. I finished A Man Called Uva. And these are fresh tears on my face because it made me cry. It was beautiful. I think it's a 5-star, and I will talk to you more about it tomorrow because my emotions are not compiled. I might watch the film tonight. I might just throw myself in. I've been filming another vlog this evening that's like a decluttering thing, and I was listening to the audiobook whilst I was doing that, and it just ended, and I'm not okay. I am not okay. We have got some books that we need to talk about. I think I'm going to wrap this vlog up here because I think I could just keep going with this. And there are books I'm still in the middle of reading that are books that I'm trying to read to restore my faith in humanity still. But I think I'm going to draw the line because we're going to end on a goodie, and that is A Man Called Uva. This book destroyed me, as I suspected it may well do. It was brilliant. It was beautiful. It was a 5 out of 5 stars. This is about Uva's life and his journey meeting his wife and how she brought such light and joy into his life, and how he is struggling with things at the moment in the book, and we meet him at a difficult time for him, certainly. I'm trying to speak carefully about it because what does the blurb actually tell you about this? It doesn't really give much away, to be honest, but we're seeing him in a difficult time, and we're seeing the light and hope that can be found in those difficult times, but also the sadness and the isolation in those difficult times. And I just thought it was absolutely beautiful and just done in such a delicate, calming way, which the film also portrayed really well. I really enjoyed watching the film. I think that was a remake, that film. I think there is an original. The one I watched was the Tom Hanks one, which is actually called A Man Called Otto. They did remove a couple, or they changed a couple of details to kind of Americanize it instead, because this is a Swedish translation. So they did definitely change things, and I think it was a really good portrayal, to be honest. It did have that calming vibe about it. I thought the cinematography worked really well to feed into the atmosphere that the book creates so well. I just loved it. It was 5 out of 5 stars. It definitely restored my faith in humanity and seeing the good in community and what that can bring. So I had a great time with this. The other books, so I started The Humans by Matt Haig as a physical read, and honestly I am not getting on with this one very well. I have really enjoyed a couple of Matt Haig books, but this one just isn't hitting for me. It's very disjointed in the writing style because it's taking on the perspective of this alien creature that's been sent to Earth for a reason we're not quite clear on, and he is having to pretend to be the man that he's been thrown into the body of. So you're kind of seeing him discover things for the first time, which is quite an interesting concept, and I am intrigued. I might end up picking this one up as an audiobook, but I'm just finding reading it for some reason just isn't flowing too well for me, so I'm going to temporarily put this one down, but probably will pick it up again as an audiobook because I am still really intrigued. I went into Mr. B's in Bath at the weekend and I got recommended Talking at Night by Claire Daverley. I actually heard this being recommended to someone else, and then I asked the bookseller more about it, and it's kind of one day-esque apparently, in following two people and their love story throughout their lives, and at the moment we're seeing them as teenagers as they're meeting. There are no speech marks in this book. I know this is a thing that Sally Rooney does as well, and not a thing that I am necessarily a fan of, and apparently Claire Daverley does it as well. I know that lots of authors do this. I personally don't see the need. I understand that in this case it's a story we're being told, and it kind of does come across as if someone's just speaking the whole story to you, and maybe that's why they're not there, but I find as a reader it just really creates a disjointing experience, and half the time I'm reading something thinking it's like a thought or a description and it's actually dialogue, and it just confuses me, and I don't know if that's the point, if I'm meant to feel like that, but I personally don't like the lack of speech marks in fiction, and I usually gear away from books that have no speech marks, but I didn't realise that in this, and I am really enjoying it so far. I'm liking the story of these two people. It's quite absorbing. It's quite a nice calming atmosphere. Again, I'm enjoying books that have that kind of atmosphere at the moment, but it's driven by their romance, I think, and I assume if it's going to be one day-esque, the will they won't they kind of element to it. So I am reading this and I am enjoying this. So I'm going to continue reading this outside of this vlog. So if you want to know my full thoughts on that, I will probably be posting them on social media. I don't really tend to film wrap-ups anymore, so there's no like specific place to see the books that I read in the month, but I found I was just repeating myself anyway, because normally I like to try and finish all the books that I'm reading in a vlog in the vlog so you can see what I'm thinking about them. But in this case, I think I need to just try and draw a line because I will be filming this until the end of time otherwise. So yeah, you can check that on my Instagram, or I don't know, anywhere else really. I'll leave links down below to any of that kind of thing. Orbital by Samantha Harvey is another one that I wanted to get to for this video. I have actually started this one. I think I'm reading like 4 books at once at the moment, and that's stressful to me. This is our tiny book club pick for December, so this one is one I will definitely be reading this month. I'm enjoying it so far. It's really, really beautiful. Like, the description is just stunning. I feel like it's going to be heavily founded in that description and not so much like heavily on the massive plot points. I mean, it's a tiny book anyway, but I think the description is absolutely beautiful, so I'm looking forward to reading more of that one. And finally, I am going to be continuing dipping in and out of Earthshot as well, which I think has some really valuable stories in it, and is something that's really important to read about and learn about and try and take action on. So that is all of the books that I have kind of delved into in this vlog. I think it's been a pretty successful week and a half, 2 weeks of reading. I've read some really great books. I mean, I found, how many did I read? 2 5-stars? I did. What You Were Looking For in the Library was a 5-star. What else have I finished in this vlog? I'm gonna check because I'm losing track of what I've been reading. I finished Us. That feels like ages ago. So I didn't love that one, but I did love What You're Looking For is in the Library, and I did love A Man Called Uwe, and I think that those have both successfully helped me feel a little bit better about humanity, which was the whole point. And I think the books that are now stacked in front of me are also going to continue to do that, and I will continue to read these and hopefully continue to enjoy them. I am hoping I can maybe fit one more reading vlog into the year. I have got quite a few videos that I'm working on at the moment. One of them is a kind of separate decluttery reset type of vlog, so that's not specifically reading vlog as such, but I really hope that I can fit in one more festive vlog, because I've got, well, one more, I haven't really done a festive vlog. I'm hoping I can fit in a festive vlog because I've got quite a few, well, I have 2 Christmassy books. I've got quite a few. I have 2 Christmassy books that I would like to try and read, which is Spectacular by Stephanie Garber and Once Upon a Frosted Star by M.A. Cusney. I'd really, really like to try and get to both of those this month. So hopefully there will be a reading vlog for those coming away as well. Thank you so much for watching this one. I will see you in the next one.